Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. Let's get right to it. Are the Boston Red Sox for real? They go into the All-Star break on a 10-game winning streak. Who would have thought that, particularly after they traded their slugger, Rafael Devers? Devers is struggling. He might have back injuries, and he is long gone from the Red Sox. And the Boston team is rolling. This was a club given up for dead back in June. Remember, at one point they were 11 down in the loss column and seemingly going nowhere. They weren't even in the wild card race. Now entering the All-Star break, the Red Sox are in third place, just 3 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays and just 1 game behind the second-place New York Yankees, who were at one point in first place with an 11-game lead in the loss column over the Red Sox. You talk about how things have changed. We're going to know more about whether the Red Sox are real, whether the Yankees are real, whether the Blue Jays' hot streak, although they've cooled off a little bit, the Blue Jays' hot streak is real. They stumbled a bit against the Athletics. We're going to know a bit between now and the trade deadline, which is July 31st. It's going to be a wild ride after the All-Star break and baseball resumes on Friday. Going to be very wild. But let's look at the schedule in the American League East. We'll start with the Red Sox because they return and play 3 games at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And the Cubs are in first place in the National League Central. They seem to have righted the course after stubbing their toe a little bit. After getting annihilated by the Yankees in a Friday night game at Yankee Stadium, they came back and won back-to-back games against the Yankees on Saturday and Sunday. Again, doing it in the Bronx. So the Red Sox will play 3 at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Then they go to Philadelphia to face the contending Phillies. And that'll be 3 games in Philadelphia before returning home to Fenway Park for 3 against the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. So we'll have a better read on the Red Sox after that 9-game stretch. 3 at Wrigley against the Cubs, 3 in Philadelphia against the Phillies, and 3 at home against the Dodgers. What about the Blue Jays? Well, the Blue Jays return with a 3-game series against the San Francisco Giants at home, and then they play the Yankees for 3 at home. And remember, earlier in the month, the Blue Jays swept the Yankees, a 4-game series in Toronto, and then they go on the road for 4 at Detroit. Finally, the Yankees. And there are people who are saying the Yankees have to make trades, and they have to make trades before the trade deadline. And normally these trades aren't made until the day of the deadline, in this case, July 31st. But the Yankees might have to make trades before we get to that July 31st deadline because they have a brutal 13-game stretch. We'll have a better read on a Yankees team that I have not been impressed with, even when they were in first place. I wrote in my newsletter, the Dan on Sports newsletter, that I had a lot of issues with this ball club, and they've come to fruition. Took a lot of heat for that, by the way. How could you say that? The Yankees are in first place. They're going to run away with the division. They'll win at least 90 games and win the division by at least 10 to 15 games. Those critics are silent right now. The Yankees aren't even in first, and they are 2 games out in second place, with the Red Sox in third place breathing down their necks. And by the way, don't rule out Tampa Bay yet, even though they have really struggled after playing tremendous baseball. So what are the Yankees? Here's their schedule, a brutal 13-game stretch. They return from the All-Star break, play 3 at Atlanta. You know, the Braves have had their issues, but they're going to be revved up with the Yankees in town. And then the Yankees go to Toronto to play the Blue Jays 3 games to return to the site where they lost 4 in a row earlier in the month. George Springer absolutely annihilating them. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did nothing in that series, really. He went 3 for 17, but Springer was unconscious, destroyed the Yankees, and now the Yanks have to go back to Toronto. Then they return to the stadium to play 3 against the Phillies, and then after that, leading into the July 31st trade deadline, 4 against Tampa Bay. So the Yankees have a brutal 13 games coming up. 3 at Atlanta. Then they play 3 games in Toronto, back to the stadium for 3 against Philadelphia, and then 4 against Tampa Bay. I'm telling you right now, the way this race is shaping up, we are going to find out if more than the Red Sox are for real. We're going to find out more about the Yankees, and we'll also find out more about Toronto. And as I said, do not rule out Tampa Bay. And the Orioles, certainly in the American League East, They want to play the role of spoilers and perhaps get back into, at the very least, the wild card race. Going to be a lot of fun, plus all the trade rumors, the trades. One other note. The Yankees would be making a big mistake if they traded Spencer Jones. We'll get into more of that a bit later on my next Dan on Sports. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You can do that by going to danonsports.com. See you later.